poison stairs here.
No.
Why don't we do a take two?
Wait a minute. Let's start again. Hello, hello.
Hi, this is Ron Votri.
This is Alex Nussbaum.
This is Jason Fraser.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Hey, this is Ray Zwicker.
All right, world. My name is Cal Post.
Guys, this is Christina Walkinshaw.
This is Eddie Delaseppe. This is Adrian Spencer.
My name is Timo.
And you're listening to the Julien Dionne
You're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
Who am I talking to? What am I doing?
Julien Dionne Comedy Hour.
You're listening to the... some
Comedy Hour. See, I took the word out comedy. Changes the meaning completely, doesn't it?
Days and not really, I'm overworking, but days in the holidays. Happy holidays. You're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
And aren't we all?
Now broadcasting live and totally uncensored,
From Lemon Press Studio in the beautiful Gatineau Hills.
Project. I was like half asleep on the couch and now I'm projecting.
Hey everyone, this is Christian Potenza.
This is Gay Trevor Wilson.
This is Jean Paul, aka the Island Hipster, #hipsterbusiness.
This is Steph Tola.
Hey, this is Jake Goldsby.
This is Sky Wallace.
Hey everybody, this is Erica Sigurdsson, aka Ricky Siggs.
Okay, hello. Hi.
This is Howard Wagman.
Hey, this is Peter Anthony, the PA system.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Some people like that's my rap name.
This is Jen Grant, and you're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
Show. You and me belong, just like the flowers, laughing all day long. People, I need you loose. Sing a little song, then take a shower. Julien Dionne.
It's a show. It's not an hour. It's a show. It's okay.
Such a beautiful waste of time. Beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time.
Are we off camera?
Wow. Okay, welcome to the Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant. She's Jen Grant. Over there to my left, your right. And I'm Julien Dionne. Thursday, April 29th. It was my sister Gabriel's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. We had a good chat on the phone.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And here we are. Broadcasting to you from Lemon Press Studios in the beautiful Gatineau Hills. Hi. Gordy's being a brat. Thank you for subscribing on all the major podcast platforms. Please review and rate. Only if it's a good review and rate. We don't need none of that negative shiznit. All out of sorts this morning. Late.
Yeah.
Running behind. Woke up late. And we are, of course, recording this live as we do Mondays through Fridays at 7 a.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter Live, Twitch, and, of course, Daily Motion. Thank you. Get to laugh every time. Yeah, we woke up late. Am I recording? Is everything recording? And every time I take my computer out of the studio and do work on it, and I plug it in, I have to make all these adjustments, and I forget. I forgot I had to do all that. And yep, we're recording. Check. Perfection all around. Yeah, we woke up late. I had a weird sleep. I had the weirdest dreams.
Yeah, I did too. I don't really remember them, but I woke up feeling weird.
Aaron Berg shot someone in the head, and I witnessed it and taped it on my phone.
Random.
I dreamt that we were staying at the camp in Skiduk. It was still up and a thing, and but it had carpet everywhere, and I had to change the bucket, the shit bucket, and it spilled in the camp everywhere.
Ew.
And I was trying to scoop it out, and it would just get into the carpet, and I was like,
I wonder what that means.
disgusting smell.
What's the deeper meaning of that?
Did your dreams always have a deeper meaning, though? You say that every time. I could dream about
I
anything.
feel like
You're
it
like,
does.
what does that mean? You really do? Or
Well,
is it just your subconscious, like, things happening? I don't know.
Why is your subconscious even dreaming that?
I
That's what
think
I'm trying
sometimes
to
there are
get.
no reasons or deeper meanings. I think sometimes you just dream weird shit because you, I don't know, saw something, or maybe you tooted last night in your dream, and I dreamt that I spilt the shit bucket on a rug.
Oh my God. Don't throw me into this.
We all know who's responsible for the hot toots in the couple. Finished the 75 hard challenge on Tuesday, which, for those who don't know, I'm going to repeat myself. It's 75 days where you do 2 workouts a day, 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outside. Doesn't have to be crazy workouts. It's more of a discipline challenge. Not more of a discipline challenge. It is a discipline and mental challenge more than physical or anything. So you do 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outside. You read 10 pages of a book. Audiobooks don't count. You drink a gallon, 4 liters of water. You follow a meal plan. Mine was no fried foods, no dairy, and no sugar, which I was already doing anyway. No alcohol, and no cheat days. If you miss one day, you start all over again. So I actually did about 80 days, because on day 4 is when we drove from New Brunswick to home here in Wakefield, Quebec, in March or February. So I had to skip one of the workouts. So I started over on day 5 was day 0 or 1. So I did 80 days. Are you bored?
No.
And finished on Tuesday. So yesterday was my first day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to not do anything just to try it out. I'm not going to read. I'm not going to drink all 4 liters of water. I'm going to drink some water, obviously. No workouts. And I'm going to have a giant poutine from Carlo here in Masham. Carlos or Carlo? I think it's just Carlo.
I thought it was Carlos, but it's spelt with an S. I don't know.
Is it?
I think so. Let me look it up.
So I went and got us each. I got the largest size you can get, and you got a small one. Mm-hmm. And I felt disgusting. So think about it. I had no fried foods or dairy for
it is Carlo. You're right.
And it's great. I can't believe how often I used to eat this stuff before.
Yeah.
Like once a week on average, would you say?
Yeah, like once every 10 days for sure.
I would eat
so a few times a month at
poutine.
least.
Oh
and
my
you had
God.
fries more than that. Like
yeah, fries on a reg. Anyway, I ate it. So yesterday, you know what? I'm back on it today. I'm back on the hard 75 or 75 hard. I keep saying hard 75. It's 75 hard. You try it out. It's a real, because any challenge that you do for that long, it becomes a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do anything yesterday. I didn't meditate. I did nothing. And we had a day off. We decided we would have...
You did stuff, but you just didn't do any of the stuff that you do with... Like, you actually were really productive, but...
Yeah.
The only thing about the 75 hard is, I think the important thing is to get all your things done early in the day. Otherwise, it can really take over your day. Like, I find it's hard to squeeze in other things. So
but it's not a reason not to do it.
No, it's true.
That's like, no... I'm too busy. Like, if I don't do it in the day,
that's true.
That's a lame excuse.
No, I'm not saying that it's an excuse. I'm just saying that it takes up a lot of time. Like, think about, what is it? Like 45 minutes, 45, so an hour and a half. And then reading, doesn't take that long, half an hour. So 2 hours. And then dietary stuff, and what else?
Well, that doesn't take time. Those are just choices
exactly.
you make.
So 2 hours then.
Yeah.
And then if you want to meditate or whatever, that's an extra hour.
Yeah, but I didn't do anything yesterday, and I was almost depressed. I missed the ritual that I had. I would go on what's he doing? What's Nugget doing?
I don't know. If you could see him right now, he's
it's like he's trying to jump off the desk, but he's scared of it or something. He doesn't know what that cushion is, I think. He jumped over it. Anyway, I missed my walk. I missed the workout. I missed going into the app and checking things off. I missed me.
Why is it? You're laughing, but you actually feel like...
No, but I missed that kind of thing. I was like, oh. It was actually a little bit depressing.
Why is it that we're, as humans, attracted to debauchery, laziness, all this thing? Like, it's this thing. Like, when I celebrate, or it's like a reward somehow to either drink alcohol, celebrate, like get out. It's like you get less present. It's like you want to eat junk. Why is that a reward when you don't even feel good?
On paper, you're right. And on paper, it seems like, I'll have a lazy day. I'll do nothing today. Do you ever have a real lazy day where you don't do anything all day? You're depressed at the end of the day. I'm like, what have I done?
Yeah.
Or but on paper, you're like, lazy, sit around, watch movies and Netflix all day. I max out at about 4 hours of watching stuff. I'm like, which is a long time.
It is a long time.
But I'm like, I get a gross taste in my mouth. But not literally, but just like, So yesterday, and after eating this, and I had a coffee in the morning.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. I did, but I'm off.
Why didn't you tell me?
I wanted to tell you on air. I thought I'd get a good reaction. Oh my God.
You did not.
Nugget,
I can't believe it.
Yeah. I thought I'm going all out, having a full, because I really wanted to see the effects on my body of everything.
Wow.
Hated it. I'm glad I did. Because you were gone. You left in the morning, and I was looking at Nugget. It looks like a giant dinosaur-sized cat on our screen if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch.
Come on, Nuggie.
Anyway, so I had a coffee. Not a strong one, just a light, because it's been about 152 days since I've had one.
And you hated it?
Oh yeah, I didn't even feel good from it. Like I felt there's like 10 minutes I felt good. But after, I felt worse than I did before. I was like tired. I crashed. I felt amazing for 10 minutes. I'll admit that. And the drinking of it, the taste of it, the smell of it was great. I felt amazing. Started feeling grateful. All firing on all cylinders for about 10 minutes, and then I was on a Zoom call, and I was just like tired. I could feel the crash already. It didn't last very long. So I'd rather not. I love coffee, but I'm off it. What?
Well, it's not even just the crash. You get bad acid reflux.
I didn't yesterday because I'm so pure, I think.
Yeah, it builds up, I think. Yeah.
But so I didn't any of that. But so I enjoyed the coffee for the time, for what it was. Anyone listening to this is like, shut up! I'm having coffee right now. I love it. It's just
but
I
they
can't
don't
have
care.
It. Yeah.
I drink coffee, and I don't care that you're saying that.
Good. Because
I think people who coffee affects everybody differently. I don't think some people say coffee's good for you. It's not anything to read too much into, but it's not good for you. Your body doesn't like coffee, so that's for sure. I really like coffee. But I've decided to go like.
Do you crash though after the crash made it not worth it?
No,
for
I
me.
don't. That's the thing.
Because it felt so good for 10 minutes. Like I was grateful for everything. I was like getting all these ideas and inspired, and then
you should write down all that stuff.
Maybe 15 minutes, and I was like,
no, I don't crash.
15 minutes later, I was like, maybe I'll have another one. And I was like, see, this is how it happens. Every 15 minutes, I'm like, I have to have another one because I'm chasing that initial. It's like when you drink and you have that first beer and you get that, it feels so good, and then you chase that for the rest.
Yeah.
So I went full debaucherous yesterday. Had a poutine and a coffee. That was my crazy reward, and I regretted all of it. The poutine, actually, I burped it up for like 4 hours after. It was disgusting, and it was good going in, but that I didn't even feel anything, because usually when being like this sober and clean and everything, when I eat, I get like high off of food. Nothing from that. I was just like, what have I done? I had a bad sleep because of it. It was just like full right to the brim.
Well, because for the last 75 days, you've been eating meals that actually make you feel good.
Yeah, well, I'm back on today. Screw it. I'm like, you know what? I'm fully back on. I'm doing everything. There's actually a thing after you finish the 75 hard, there's like a phase 1 where it's like 30 days. You add in a cold shower. There's something else. I'm doing that. I'm fully back on the regimented thing. I just loved it. And had it been 30 days, I don't think I would care. But 75, it really establishes habits.
Yeah.
And you get used to feeling so good. And so forget it. I'm back on.
Mark has a good point. He said humans were meant to struggle to survive, so doing nothing all day is not normal or good. It's so true.
But even like when you said like, oh, it's this weekend, I'm going to get so fucked up. I can't wait. Like
Who said
something
that?
happened. You said like, why do we do that?
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't say those words.
Oh.
I'm mad and like surprised. Who said that?
Well, I didn't want people to think I said, oh, I can't wait till the weekend so I can get fucked up.
No, but that's what we do. Like if there's a special occasion or you get together with a few people, like I can't wait. I'm going to get blind drunk. It's like, why though?
How about you had some friends who also did the 75 hard?
Yeah,
And they regretted it, eh?
They went on a full debaucherous tear like after, because I'm still sober. Like for me, the non-drinking was easy because it's been over 150 days now. And so, but they like went on a party weekend and they regretted it. But I don't know. I'm just, and I was talking to them like the day after and they're like, I can't wait to get back on track. It's like, you're still on track. It was just one day, but then you spiral. You go, well, I'm here now. May as well indulge a little longer and then I'll get back to it. And then you get further away from it. Now you're a week and a half out and you're like, haven't done anything. You're like, now you're really like longing for the days to get back on track. Anyway, enough of that.
Ali says, great. Now I'm craving a poutine.
I can't believe like how much it was my favorite food before. Now I still love it. It's good. It's like my joke where I say it's good from here to here, like from the tip of your mouth to the back of your throat. And that's it. After that, your body starts. I woke up with a pimple. I'm like, it's crazy what happens to the body. And I guess I just felt. So good. You get used to that feeling. Because before, had I felt like I did yesterday, which was not great, I would have been like, oh my God, I feel incredible. But when I feel anyway, enough of that.
No, it's true though.
What am I talking about here? Had to, so we took the last couple days off. Tuesday, I got called up for, well, I've talked on the show last couple weeks about how I would drive to Montreal or on the outskirts, about 45 minutes out, in case I was called up to do this quiz show I was on hold to replace in case for season 1, and then I was a shoo-in for season 2 if they didn't use me. Well, they called me Monday and they said, actually, we'll need you tomorrow. So I filmed 4 episodes of this game show. I'm not going to give any details because it's not out yet. It's in production. It's going to come out. I don't even know when it's going to come out. But being on a game show, so the premise was, 4 like quote celebrities. They scraped the bottom of the barrel to have me on there. Like the others were like big time actors. I didn't know who they were. So there's 3 of us and 2 actresses. I looked them up after. I'm like, oh, they have like 280,000 followers on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, whoops. Because I was like, what do you guys do? And they're like, one's like, well, I'm a host. She hosts like a French version of the Rick Mercer Report, and the other, so I'm like, she's French, Quebec's Rick Mercer, and the other one was just an actress. She's been an actress since she was a kid, very famous. I did not know.
She was probably like, oh my God, why doesn't this guy know who I am?
Either of them. I'm like, so what do you guys do? I thought maybe a singer or something.
Quebec has such a different star system. It's cool.
Yeah, it really is, where people have huge careers, never leaving the province. And even though I'm French, growing up in New Brunswick, we did not relate to or consume any Quebec pop culture. It was all American pop culture. That's why our English is better, tends to be better than in Quebec, because we, I would watch Seinfeld in English and The Simpsons and all, American pop culture, but in French. Anywhere else in Canada, I think they consumed a lot of Quebec. But like, I know nobody. I know comics, now because I've been in doing French comedy for 3.5 years, so I know the comedy world, but I know nothing of TV shows, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess quiz shows, game shows in Quebec it's a whole circuit. Like you can have, that can be one of your gigs, just doing those. Like one of the ladies that was on with me yesterday, she's done one of the game shows like 20 or 30 times or something. She's like, yeah, she's been on Le Trichard. And I don't even know what that game show is. I'm like, oh yeah, right. They're telling me. I'm like, but there's an art to that. It's crazy. A whole other muscle. You have to be so wacky and corny and that's basically the opposite of who I am. And so, but you have to be like, and the whole crew's laughing, and this is very smiley and laughing and over the top energy. And when the host asks you a question, I had answers prepared because they do a pre-interview. They did the pre-interview before asking me to be on hold just in case I got called in. So it'd be, I'm trying to be, witty and funny, but them, it's like over the top cheese and cornballism.
Cornballism.
It's like the host would ask something like, and everyone's like, and I'm like, in my head, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here?
And it doesn't come across as weird if you're watching it from home
at all. Zero.
But if you're in the thing, you're like, what's happening in the studio?
It's like when you're watching The Circle, and when she was like screaming alert or whatever.
Yeah.
That's crazy if you're in that room doing it, but on TV it just comes across as normal. Oh, I'm sure I came across on TV as just like a low energetic dope. Like
no,
I got
it's true.
I got some laughs and stuff, but I'm sure he's gonna come across as like, is he even awake? Because I'm just like, I was just being like me now, but they are so over the top energetic and looking in the cameras and doing these takes and like saying like and saying these things. And you're right. When it comes out on TV, they're gonna look totally normal, and they'll be like, what is this guy? Well, is he
What's wrong with
sleeping?
that guy?
Did he smoke some weed before doing it? What's going on?
Yeah.
And because they were like, the host kept referring to how my chill vibe, and I was like, oh god. Because in my head, I'm like, answers they'd give, I don't know, cringe. It was cringe, a lot of cringe, but you're making TV, so you have to put all that aside. It's not stand-up. Like on stage, you can be yourself and be, if you're low energy in real life, you can be lower energy. You can be just yourself and talk how you talk, and you're in command of the room, and it's your show, and you're in full control. Whereas on this, you're just a piece of the puzzle, a cog in the wheel, as they say, and it's just like, do your job and bring it. You have to. So it was tough. It was really tough, but it was fun.
I feel like we forget sometimes, as in English Canada specifically, that there's a performance to stand up though. And when I do that, because I think most of us have a tendency to be understated and low energy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you amp it up, it does make it more entertaining. Like, I think there's a tendency to forget that it's entertainment.
Yeah, I know.
It's a show. Like in the States, people really ham it up, and they like American comics are way more. They sell their material a lot more. French comedians do it too.
Oh, over the top.
And I think it's actually, I think we can take a page out of their book.
Sometimes. Comics that are too smiley and laughy on stage for no reason, I will never take a page of that book, ever.
Especially if it's like so not genuine.
It's
like,
no.
It's so fake.
In Quebec, they have a lot of characters and like it's over the top. I don't like a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, there's some comics that are doing great work, but I think you can be like yourself, but just maybe amped up energy-wise and little like exaggerated like movements and whatever. But I'm not crazy about the over the top.
Yeah.
It's like, no, am I not crazy about it? I hate it. It's like, it's so disingenuous. What are you just on YouTube looking up stuff? Oh.
It's CBC. I was just
getting ready for the DD.
Well, like I'm just scrolling to see if I don't want to miss anything major.
Oh my God, multitasker.
No, just a little bit. I'm just scanning. I'm also listening.
Barely.
That's not true.
You can't
I'm
fully
engaging
listen
with
if you're
you.
looking
I was
for.
just scanning. Leave it.
Well, it's distracting when on the corner of my eye I just see like scrolling like screen. No, don't. It's all right. So anyway, it was a fun experience. I knew the host. He's from New Brunswick. I won't say who it is just because I don't want to give any details from this show. I'm not supposed to. So that's why I'm vaguely talking about it. But props to the other two contestants that were on. I learned a lot. If I was ever asked to do it again, I would you just have to be a cornball and just go, this is what I'm doing. But it's also not me. It's like just, you're wearing silly hats and you're like, and it's just not me. And it's okay to not.
But couldn't that be funny if you're not that, but you're wearing the silly hat? Like, I feel like, couldn't they just...
I was wearing a 3-piece suit because that's what I wear when I do TV.
That's your thing.
And so it was like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's also like, I don't know. Some comics just, it's okay to accept that certain things are not your thing.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
It's good money and everything, but it's like maybe wacky quiz shows where you wear stupid hats and give silly answers are not my thing.
Well, if
that's okay.
If they would let you, absolutely, that's okay. But if they would let you be you,
I was me. I was just like, it was a chill vibe. One of the camera guys came over and he's like, "Oh, you should do this for the next," because there was a section where we did this little improv thing. He goes, "You should do this." And it was great advice. I actually won that round based on that advice. And then he did an impression of me. He goes, because it go really with your vibe of like, yeah, over there. I don't care. I'm like, oh my God. How am I coming across here?
You know what? I've said that about you. When I first met you, I feel like you don't show a lot of expression, but
it's just
you
so
feel
unnatural.
A lot. Yeah, but you feel a lot, but you don't show it. That's just the way you are. And I feel like you've rubbed off on me, so I got to start being more animated. I used to be way more animated, eh? Now I'm just like you.
Why do you say that with so much disgust in your...
Yeah.
And like, now I'm just like you. Anyway, I don't think I'll be watching it. My episodes.
I can't wait to see it.
I did 4 episodes. It was a week. I have a giant head, right? My head is the size of an average waist. So all of the silly hats we had to wear just sat on the top of my head, so I looked even dumber. Like everyone, like you can put a silly hat on, but if it fits properly, it doesn't look that dumb. But when you're wearing a hard hat or a chauffeur's hat and it's just sitting on top of my hair. Hello?
Yeah, totally.
You're not...
Yes, I am. I can pet a cat and also listen to what you're saying.
But nothing with the dumb hat sitting on top of my head.
Sorry, you also cannot. It's like when you think, oh, I have the best idea for the improv song. It's the same thing. You can't anticipate the laughs.
And the guy doing the hair...
But it's hilarious.
The guy doing... Thank you. That's all I wanted. The guy doing my hair would also leave my bangs out. Like, because when I put a hat on, I like to tuck my bangs in the...
Why did he do that?
In the hat, so you just see my forehead. I don't know. He would leave it like my side part, so my hair was like coming down, and then the silly hat would be just sitting on top of my giant head. So if I moved a little bit, it would slide up. And everyone else, like the hats fit, but I think I give a vibe off to gay men. They flirt with me excessively.
Really?
Yeah, often. I mean, this guy, I don't care. I don't mind. It's flattering. But this, the guy that did...
it's a compliment, yeah.
My hair would often, like he would cut in between takes and come, and anytime one of the silly hats would slide off, or he'd come and he would just be like, "Oh, I could look at your face all day," like just comments like the whole time, and one time.
What do you say when they say that?
I just kind of.
What do you do? It's awkward.
No, not really. I just. Like
I find it awkward if
he came between one of the takes. He came to adjust one of my hats. I go, "I'm ready for you," like in French, and he goes, "Careful, last man that said that to me, I married him." He kept talking about his husband, and so another take. He comes and he's adjusting my hair, and he goes, "Geez, what are you gonna do when you don't have me around?" And I go, "Maybe." I go, "Yeah, I think I could have a hair person around me 24/7. It'd be fun." I'm just like, I don't know, interacting with him, and he's like, "Okay," and he acts out calling his husband. He goes, "Shitty, it's over," and and then what else did he say? I go, "But I live 2 hours away. You'll have to commute back and forth." And he goes, "Oh, I'll drive you to the ends of the world."
Oh my God.
Yeah, but that happens a lot. Like he's not flirting with anybody else, but for me, he was laying it on thick.
Well, I was gonna say it's uncomfortable for me if someone of the opposite sex or same sex would flirt with me. But then I realized, you know what? I find it uncomfortable with anyone flirts with me.
Yeah,
because I don't know what to do. It's like it's like uncomfortable.
When I worked in restaurants, the gay guys I worked with, they would like excessively flirt with me and no one else. Do I give off a vibe?
I think you just might be very attractive, Jules.
Well, I also joke back with them. Like I don't.
Maybe it's
I
your
don't pull
energy
back.
that they know that you're like nice or something. You know what I mean? You're not going to be. You don't give off an aggressive vibe. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I just kind of give it back. I joke back like, and bring you up as much as I can. When I was one time working at a restaurant.
Well, if you say fiance, they're not going to know if it's male or female.
No, I don't say fiance. I say my girlfriend. But one time I was working at a restaurant and I was at the POS system, and one of my coworkers came up right behind me. He goes, "What's the closest you've ever been with a man?" And I go, "Pretty much this right now, right here." And he goes, "Somehow I can't. I don't. It's I've had her." He goes, somehow I have a hard time believing this. Anyway, but I always great. I love them. They were great. I just somehow give off a vibe that it's like, oh, maybe I can switch him.
Yeah, and I'm wondering
like I'm a challenge to them.
Okay, when you watch Outlander and there's that one main character who is gay, but there's and I can't help but think, how hard would it be in the 1700s to be gay and to like know if someone else is gay and who you can hit on and it's okay. Like such a violent time, such a non-inclusive accepting of others time. Like that one nice character that's in it who happens to be gay, just tortured because he wants to be with men. But like, how do you possibly give the message without that, someone from a Scottish clan killing you? Like, when that main one hits on Jamie, remember he like rubs his hand or whatever?
Sir John Grey.
So maybe that they're putting it out there to see if you would be open to it, like in a joking way.
Yeah, but they don't flirt with anyone else. I didn't see this man flirt yesterday or Tuesday with anyone else, and he was aggressively. I don't care. I laugh it off. I joke back with him, and
I wonder if they can tell you're not gonna like get mad and you're a nice
and then
guy.
he's like at the end, he's like, "All right, I'll meet you in the car," and I'm like, "Okay, see you there." I don't know. Like it's like. Does he think if he keeps joking, it'll be like under the guise of it's a joke if I get offended, but maybe that there's a little chance he'll be like, okay, seriously, meet me in the parking lot.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because he was like hovering and stuff, like we were wrapped, and he was like kind of hovering and like.
Oh yeah,
he's
probably.
Like, okay, meet you in the car, and I'm like, all right.
Maybe you're too nice.
Yeah, but I don't have a problem with it. I'm not like,
but maybe if you
kick your ass, man.
No, but you don't have to go from like, ha 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 to kick your ass. You could be like uncomfortable, like your energy.
But I'm not that uncomfortable with it. Like it's just like, okay, whatever, it's
silly.
happening. Yeah, I'm not like offended or even uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not comfortable. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just kind of neutral. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I joke back. I can make jokes. I'm not like, maybe that's what it is. I joke back and laugh. So it's like, oh, maybe I can.
It's possible there's maybe a little bit of them hoping that maybe you'll be like, because I don't know.
You know what? Meet me in the parking lot. I will take you up on one of those BGs.
BGs. BGs.
Yeah,
On one
but
of
he was great. He was so fun. I mean, he was the most fun person on the set.
Right.
He's just happened to be aggressively flirting with me.
And you know what is interesting too is that that's not appropriate in a professional environment.
Right.
But because he's a makeup artist, like if he was the grip hand, like, or if he was like a camera guy, it would be really
It's true.
weird. But
Be weird.
because he's a makeup artist, it's like it's kind of like if you're a comedian, you can act that way. Like in restaurants, there's certain industries you can't act that way. Otherwise, human resources would be contacted.
Yeah.
Like that guy, in a way, as more inclusivity happens and people are starting to accept more differences and everybody is embraced and allowed to be who they are, that guy might get in trouble at one point. Like someone might be uncomfortable with it. Like you don't.
I wonder
mind
if
it.
he would know and not.
Yeah.
Because he didn't start like that right out the gate.
Right. He kind of.
He was doing my hair. Yeah. He was the hair guy, not the makeup.
I love your motion for the hair.
Oh, because he would do this, like fluff it up in the back. And every time anyone does my hair, I go right to the bathroom and fix it.
Yeah.
Even though that's their job.
I love I didn't know they did your hair.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
do they do with it?
I don't know. He's just like my bangs were like straight because I was wearing a hat on the way there. My bangs were like straight, and the side part wasn't really to the side. It was like a middle. I looked ridiculous. He's like, "How's that?" I'm like, "Perfect." He's like, "Oh, I could look at you all day." Like it started with little comments like that,
Yeah.
and then I laughed and made jokes back, and then it ramped up to I'll meet you in the car at the end of the day. But as soon as he finished, I was like, yeah, it looks great. I went in the bathroom, wet my hair a little bit so it would like, wave not so straight and like change the part.
Yeah, I never liked the way hairdressers do my hair.
And then he's
either.
like, oh, it changed. And then he's like fixing it. I'm like, because that's his job. He's in a union. That's what he does. So
Yeah.
I'm just not supposed to touch it after he does it. And between takes, I would like sometimes fix it because I can tell when it's like just flat and straight. I just run my hair through it and he'd be like, I saw you run your hair through your thing. And I'm like, well, because I'm not supposed to touch it because that's his department. That's
Yeah.
why he's there. Anyway, it was overall a great experience. It's a fun day to spend a day. And
fun way to spend a day.
what?
You said it's a fun day to spend a day.
Oh, fun day to spend a day. Fun way to spend a day.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think if you joke back, I think that's what it is. Then he's like, we're joking and that's our rapport.
Yeah.
But I think he gets away with it because he's a makeup artist. It's like if you're a comedian, you can get away with a lot.
Someone else might have been offended, but I absolutely was not. It was like, okay, it's charming. Came off as charming, and he was the most fun person on the crew.
Right.
Like jokes nonstop, laughing, and just over the top energy. He was great.
Yeah.
Made it light and fun. A lot of other people were just like stressed and doing their thing. And the makeup artist, is this blurry? Is this off? No, it's just the makeup artist was like, "Oh, did you spend a lot of time outside? You're very tanned."
Nah.
I was like, "Yep." You even went for a swim. She's like, "Interesting that your neck isn't tanned." I'm like, "Just do your job."
Then you're like, note to self, better tan my neck too.
Mm-hmm. Anywho, we were talking. I was mentioning restaurant as I've worked in a restaurant because we said we'd talk about this on Monday. We said we'd talk
Did you
about
want
it
to just
on
talk
Thursday.
about it tomorrow? Because it's already 8:45.
Is it 8:45 or we've done an hour?
7:45.
Yeah, but we started at 7:10. We're only 35 minutes in.
Okay. Never mind then.
We're 35 minutes in, so...
Oh, yeah. Let's do it up.
We'll find other stuff to talk about tomorrow.
Oh, of course.
Because you've got your daily dose, and then that's pretty much it. We've got no live reads to do today. As Gringos Blazing Sauces relocates from Ottawa to Regina.
What does?
Gringos Blazing Sauces.
Yes.
They're not in production right now, so they're not sponsoring the show for a few weeks until they get back up and running and have product to offer. So they cleared out their inventory and they're moving across country. So
So crazy.
So we don't have any live reads to do today. We'll
Wow-y.
get on that and have other ones to do for next week. Next week's we've starting to have guests. Can't wait for Friday of next week. We'll have Dr. Jules Cormier, a good buddy of mine, went to high school with. Very intelligent guy. We're going to talk all things vaccines and COVID and his other passions, and we're going to reminisce about the old days a little bit.
Fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So that's on Friday next week, and we're going to have a couple other guests during the week that I will announce throughout. Follow us on social media to know who those are, at Julien Dionne Show on Instagram, and follow the Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's also a Facebook group for all inside information.
Did you guys who saw my Popeyes chicken story?
Yeah, we did a Popeyes chicken sandwich story. We did our own version of it on home. Did we talk about that on Monday? Yeah, we did.
We did a little bit, but I hadn't posted the story yet.
Right. We did.
Yeah, that was really good.
So
That was
let's talk
delicious.
side job. It was delicious. We did talk about it on Monday. We described it and everything.
Yeah, we sure did.
I thought you wanted to do it again. We said we would talk about our worst or just day jobs in general since getting into comedy. So when I started comedy, well, you go ahead, Jen. Well, I'll just paint the picture. When I started comedy, I had a real job. I worked for Assumption Mutual Life, selling insurance,
Can't
mutual
imagine
funds, and
that.
retirement planning. I was a financial planner. Advisor, not planner. CFP is a whole other thing. I was a financial advisor. And when I started getting busy with comedy in the first year, because New Brunswick was a great town to start, there's all this work. And my sister Mary Jo said, quit your day job, because I had to make a decision. And she said, just get a mindless job, something that you don't take home when you're done work, that you think about it when you're there, and that's it. She said, work in a restaurant, do anything. So I gave my notice to my company, and then I was talking to a friend, a viewer of the show, Michelle. At the time, she was a general manager for a French restaurant, and her husband was boyfriend at the time, chef Luke. And I went there, like, I just quit my job. I'm going to do something mindless, like, I don't know, serve at a restaurant or just something. She's like, hello, we're standing in a restaurant right now. She's like, do you want a job? I said, yes. So I started working as a server right away.
Had you ever done it before?
No. Started working as a server at Rouge in Moncton. And that was the beginning of a bunch of other side jobs. Because before that, I had like actual jobs in sales and whatever. It was the beginning of a bunch of mindless side jobs over the next decade until about 4 years ago. I haven't had to have a day job, but so I'll get into mine, but get into your day jobs you've had while starting out in comedy, Jenny.
Oh my gosh, I had tons. Most of them were serving.
Okay.
But I also was an extra in movies.
Right.
When I lived in Vancouver. So when I started doing stand-up, so before I even did stand-up, I have a degree.
Oh my God.
A university degree. And I was a reporter, very briefly. So started trying to do that, decided I didn't really like it. It was okay. It was, I mean, I think I could like it, but I felt like I needed to explore this comedy path. And so I started doing stand-up, and I was serving at the time. So I served for a long time, like years and years and years, at least the first 10 years. Oh my gosh. What a stressful job, and hard on the feet. Whoa. And so did that. And it was always a challenge to go on the road and also keep the job. That's what I found.
It would be so stressful. You get bookings. You're like, oh shit, you have to have that talk with the manager again. Like, it's not so bad if you establish it right away when you get the job, but often you don't because you're afraid to not get the job. So you
want to be like full hardcore.
Yeah, full availability and whatever. But I've had a couple jobs where I was able to establish I'm a comedian first. So I'll go on the road sometimes, and they'll be like, absolutely, come and go as you please. Those are like
Rare.
harder to find, but sweet. Like Playa Cabana was like that. I could just leave for 3 weeks, no problem, come back. That's why I worked there for 5 years.
Yeah, it's definitely, most places are not like that.
Okay, so
and you had that's a sweet job because you made a lot of money at that restaurant.
And I could literally leave for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
And just pick up. It's like you got to use them.
And I would come back and get all my shifts. I was head server, then manager.
They loved you there.
It was great. It was a great 5 years. I mean, I've never worked anywhere that long than Playa Cabana restaurants in Toronto.
Yeah, and such good food.
Authentic Mexican food. Amazing. Shout out to Dave Sidhu, who is this podcast's first ever guest, September 2014. So you can check that out on iTunes. It's there. Mm-hmm. Still talk to him on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So you had reporter, server.
Yeah. And then
extra.
I was also an extra in movies, which there's a funny story about that. I was an extra in a bunch of different things, but one of the movies that I was an extra in was called Things We Lost in the Fire. Mm-hmm. And there were a ton of big actors in that movie. And this was like Halle Berry, Benicio del Toro, another guy who was the husband in Fargo. I don't know what his name is, but the woman who's the cop, and then she's married to this guy, but he's recognizable. If you saw him, you'd know who he was. David Duchovny. And I think there was one more famous actor that I can't think of, but it was a star-studded like cast. But it wasn't a huge movie. And there was a scene where I could tell they had a good budget for the show too, for extras, because I got fitted into a suit, a really nice suit, because I was one of the guests at a wake. And it was like one of those gatherings after the wake.
What do you mean, like a suit? Like
a beautiful,
like a pantsuit?
Like a dress, like a skirt with a blazer and a blouse. And I was like, why don't I dress like this more often? It was really nice. Maybe I'll start dressing like that. I would love that.
You've attempted over the years that I've known you, 12 and a half, to do stuff like that, and it just stays in the closet.
Yeah.
You've gotten skirts and suits and skirt suits, and
I have to start.
You never wear them.
Well, right now it's like, why would I wear a dress or a suit in the house during
you
the
got
pandemic?
that was it a corduroy one, like a dark brown one or something like that?
Yeah.
Never wore it.
I find jackets are hard to wear because I get hot and they're constricting. I don't know. There's something about
You're
them.
a jeans and t-shirt kind of gal. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. I want to start.
Remember when we showed up for that corporate for Nokia and booked through Jason? He's like, really? Jeans at a corporate?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Well, yeah. I thought it was okay and also it was super casual. Did you see everybody else who was there?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was wearing a 3-piece suit. He's like, really? Come on, jeans. And he points at me. He goes, that's too much. But jeans?
Yeah, you do. You've made me feel that I should step up my game because you're so over the top dressed. Anyways. So, so this story is great. I actually, I didn't like being an extra. I didn't like being a background worker background performer, or whatever they call it. Now, if you were a background performer and you were a full member in the ACTRA union, okay, which is the union for performers in Canada, you would get $20 an hour, which was great. You also got access to better craft service. So craft service is what they feed the performers on the set. And so I was like, I want to, and at that time I wasn't a full member. Now I am. So I should probably get back into background performing. But what I didn't like about it was you sit around a lot.
But that's not a lot. $20 an hour for a full day. Just
well, it's
standing
probably
around
more
there.
now, but it was, a good 10 years ago plus.
Right.
More than that, actually. It was 15 years ago. So it's probably more now, but 15 years ago, $20 was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And also, anyway, I didn't like sitting around. It was literally 12 hours of sitting around, and then you'd shoot something for, I don't know, an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then you'd have to sit there again. It drove me crazy. Anyway, they had really nice budget for wardrobe. They dressed me up in this nice suit, and they did my makeup. Because as a background performer, you don't always get your makeup done because you're just a background performer, not even in focus, you know? Anyway, so they give me, it's a wake, and I have to be sad. So, but I'm a background performer, so no one's like focusing in on. However, they really went all out on this one, and they put this stuff under my eyes to make it look like I'm crying, to make me look like I'm crying.
What did they put under your eyes?
It was like, it smelled like, and it might have just been Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah.
It smelled like that. And they put it right underneath. The makeup artist put pink and red, like, makeup subtly around my eyes to make it look like I've been very upset and crying. And when I'm crying and upset, I'm very fair. So it was very accurate. Like, that's what I would look like if I was bawling my head off. So she put pink.
Why don't all actors put Vicks Vapor Rub under their eyes instead of actually trying to cry?
I don't know.
I would ask for that if I was like in a scene and be like, could you just give me some Vicks?
I know, definitely. But here's the thing. They kept on having to stop and start, which is the nature of production. When people are putting on a production for a movie, it's a lot of stopping and tweaking and starting and tweaking and take. And it's like, so she kept on having to reapply it. Oh my God. Under my eyes hurt so much afterwards because it stings. It's like really hard on your skin. Like it's really, and she kept on reapplying with a Q-tip underneath my eyes, and I was crying. Like, in fact, I had to pretend I was talking to this guy at the wake, another background performer, and he was like, "Are you okay?" Like, I looked really sad and it's interesting because when your physiology is telling you you're sad, you actually start to feel sad. Right. You know how they say fake it until you make it, or like smile because you trick your brain into thinking you're happy. It's true. I remember when I was like, talk about side jobs, when I was a YTV reporter. Is that my new brag? I was a YTV reporter.
But that wasn't a side job. That was your job.
That was a job, yeah. But, I remember I did a story at, what do you call it? Munster? What do you call it? There's a Halloween place outside of Ottawa. It's called Saunders Farm. And I did a report there, and they did my makeup. And they put a bolt in my head, like I was someone who had been, like I was a zombie, and I had been like, and they did such an incredible job at my makeup that when I looked in the mirror, I actually went like this, like as if it hurt. So I'm all fired up.
The details. It's like,
what?
Nothing.
What's
nothing,
wrong with
nothing,
that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Am I not? I feel that this is an interesting story.
It is an interesting story. Keep going.
So I'm at the wake and I'm crying, and the other background performer's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I actually felt sad because I was crying so much. Anyway, the climax of the story is coming right now. So the scene,
the announcement,
the scene that
this
we're
is
doing.
Good, guys.
No, but I'm getting somewhere here. I think it's entertaining along the way. So stop at Peanut Gallery. So the scene was Halle Berry is the one who's lost her husband. Okay. So she's walking down the stairs and all the cameras and everything. And I'm on the side and I'm really crying. So picture it. I'm on the side and she's walking down the stairs and she looked right at me. And I swear to God, her face was like, shit, she's good. Like, why is she just a background performer? Like, she's really into it. And I was
maybe
like,
that's why that movie never. That's why that movie never made it. Because they're like, we can't. The extras are outshining the actors in this. We can't put any money behind it.
Yeah. That's so I did a lot of other serving jobs.
Oh my God! Dip.
I know.
It was this great story though. So I also worked in a lot of restaurants. It was a great story. I love that story.
Michelle said, "Are you saying Halle Berry?" Halle
Berry? Halle Berry?
It's not Holly.
No, it's not Holly.
It's
Halle Berry.
Halle.
Yeah, Halle
Yeah.
Berry. Back home, I think they say Holly. Holly Berry.
Oh, yeah?
Probably. Holly Berry.
So Michelle says, oh, OMG, same. I want to look classy, but comfy is my jam. Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Dressing.
Oh, right. Michelle, we just talked about you as my
we
first
did.
side job in comedy, working with for Michelle at Rouge.
Yeah, she just missed that little part of the convo. Yeah, we're just talking about side jobs. And so most of it was serving. And honestly, the stress thinking about A, serving and how hard it is. And B, trying to figure out my schedule. So, because I never wanted to say no to gigs. Like I'm working on improving my career and, you know, and I remember thinking like,
Well, you can't say no to a gig, then what are you doing it for? I mean...
yeah, exactly. But it's hard because you need your other job and it's a legit struggle. Like the thing up until about 8 years into comedy, I absolutely 100% needed that side job to be able to pay my rent and to pay my bills. So whenever they would call or schedule me and say like, we're short staffed, we need you, you can't go on the road. And I was like, oh, and I'd get offered these great gigs and
Getting shifts covered was so stressful. I remember when you worked at Mojave too, you're always trying to get your shifts covered and
that was so
switching
hard.
with people, and I'll take your Wednesday if you could take my Thursday night, and I'll close if you can, and then you do like these deals like, I'll take 2 of your closes if you'll take my double. It's like
I know.
ridiculous.
It's actually
I
really
did
stressful.
Serving was the main one, I guess, but I've done so many others. I worked at a furniture store.
Oh yeah.
In Toronto when we
That's
first
right.
got there for minimum wage. That sucked. It was so dead that I would just work there and
But
just
you never
stand
know
around.
where anything's going to take you. Like the reason you got, like not the reason, but you connected with the owner from
Playa Cabana,
Playa
yeah.
Cabana at the furniture store.
And then in New York, I worked in a Greek restaurant for $2 an hour, but for tips. But it was dead, so I made no tips. So I would work like 8 hours and make $16. And the owner was he was Greek, so everything that was said in the form of yelling. Every sentence would start with "What's the matter with you? Hey!" And I would be like, I'd just go in with a pit in my stomach, and he would make me stand. I would work lunch, and he would make me stand at the host station at the beginning, at the entrance of the restaurant, for my entire shift, and there'd be nobody there. And it was a place that struggled. It's since closed. They were struggling big time when I was there. And one time, this woman ordered something, and it was just like disgusting. There was something in her. I can't remember what was wrong with it. Something in her food or whatever. It was just awful. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I take it back to the kitchen. He's like, well, what do you want? What does she want? What does she want? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'll make her anything else on the menu. Free. I'm like, okay. So I go back. I'm like, so we're offering to make anything for you at no charge. At no charge, of course. She's like, you know what? No, I got to go back to work. And I lost my appetite. I'm like, okay, no problem. I go back.
And you can't blame her.
No, I go back to the owner and I go, yeah, she doesn't want anything. He's like, oh, that's her problem then. So he didn't want to comp her meal. So I actually show up. She didn't eat it. She had like 3 bites and there was like a hair or something. I'd like to remember what it was. It was something disgusting with it. And she was not going to eat it. He offered something on the menu. Wouldn't comp her meal because she didn't want the offer. So he made me bring her bill. So I'm like, here you go. She opens it. She's like, oh, but I didn't eat this. I'm like, yeah, but since you didn't want anything else on the menu, the owner said
so
you should pay for that. She was so mad. She didn't pay for it. I was like, you know what? Forget it. It's dumb. I took it back and I was like, I'll just get in shit for it. It makes no. So I go back to him. I'm like, she didn't want to pay for it. I mean, she didn't even eat it. He's like, loses his mind, starts throwing pans around in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, fuck.
You know what? It's really weird, but I feel a little bit bad for that guy.
Yeah, he was nice. He just
Like
that's
he
how
was
they
stressed,
communicated.
and he was stressed out. Like,
Yeah.
but business wasn't doing well, and he was like,
Wow, this $11 meal was like make or break. But in New York, I also did. when I first moved there, on the advice of my sister Mary Jo, she's like, why don't you do dog walking? I'm like, I have no experience dog walking, but okay, how hard could it be? So I put up posters all across Astoria. And she's like, do something like funny pets, like where it's like, say that you're a comedian, like comedians by night, pet walkers by day. I'm like, all right. So I put up these signs all over Astoria in Queens.
I remember I did that too.
Yeah, funny pets. Comedians.
Funny pets.
Yeah, comedians by night, as if it was this big company. Comedians by night is just one like amateur comic. Comedians by night, pet walkers by day, and got nothing. Not one. And I would go check. I'd go in the neighborhoods when you'd like put up posters like on just posts in the neighborhood.
Also, keep in mind, you had no website.
Where they
or
rip
anything.
off.
Like
no.
if somebody were to check you out, there's nothing online at
Exactly. And you put on these little tabs, like you cut at the bottom of the page and they rip off your phone number. And I would often go check and there's nothing.
Would you take a couple to make it look like someone?
No. So I did Astoria Cleaners. That was another one. And that one, I would go check the posters and they would often be gone. It would be like a lot of things were tore off. My number and Astoria Cleaners. I don't know. I don't remember what the tagline was, but maybe I used the same comedians by night, cleaners by day. And I got a few of those gigs. So I cleaned people's apartments and condos and houses in Queens, New York.
What was that woman's name?
Rhoda.
Oh my God.
She was
that?
she was like.
So nice, eh?
She lived, she was great, but she lived in a sketchy part of Queens in a sketchy apartment.
Yeah.
And the first time I went, her place was a disaster. Like she was like a hoarder almost, like the first stages of a hoarder.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a stack of magazines. I had to call you to come help because it was taking so long. And there's a stack of magazines in the living room under the coffee table. I lifted it and like 30 cockroaches just went scurrying everywhere.
And I'm telling you, he's not exaggerating.
And
I think when someone has a problem like that, it's like they let it go so long that it seems like such a huge job that they don't bother doing anything.
Yeah, she cried when she came home. She came home from work and I was still there but finishing and she cried. But she had done nothing. Her sink was full of stale, gross water with dirty dishes
How
in it.
many hours did it take? Do you remember?
It was like an all-day thing. And
was it about $20 an hour or something like that?
Not quite that maybe. No, maybe like 15 or 20. Maybe. I can't remember.
Cash. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she would pay me in cash. And a few others hired me. This one, I did this really nice house one time. But I was really slow because I didn't clean that often. Like I was like, you know, when you hire a cleaner, they're so efficient.
That's
they do
okay
it.
though, right?
They do it all the time. Well, not when you're paid hourly. No, it's not okay. When you when someone hires you to clean their thing and like 8 hours
but you
later,
did a good job. You're a
still there.
perfectionist.
I know, but that's not what you go for.
Did you get that kind of feedback?
Imagine you hire a cleaner and you're like, how much an hour? And they tell you $20 or $25 an hour, and then it takes. When you clean your house, it takes you 2 hours, and it takes this random guy 8 hours. You're like, this is not worth my time or money.
And so, did you get that kind of feedback from people?
They just wouldn't hire me back. And I did this one house, and then a kid got home from school. I'm chatting up the kid, and then the mom came home. I could tell she was like, "Oh, you're still here," because she left in the morning and came back. Came back at like, I don't know, 4. I was still there like mopping. She's like, "Oh," and she paid me. I never got hired back. This one guy, I cleaned this one apartment. He was like moving out, or he owned it, and he was like in between tenants. So I cleaned it, the walls and stuff. And he took a picture of me at the end because he's like, I don't trust, just in case something's missing. In case, like, he's like, do you mind if I take your picture? We do live in New York City and people are, you know, I don't know. So I was like, okay. So I'm just like at the side of the street. And he's like,
I don't know why that makes me sad.
Taking my picture. Which, for who?
You.
No, it's fine.
You should have just ran away.
But Rhoda.
Hilarious.
This, yeah, like, what did I take? Like, I had nothing on me, but he's like, you never know. Rhoda, this woman that I initially cleaned her out, she was my only client. Like, she was sad when we moved out of New York because she loved me and we had this great thing. So she turned out to be my only customer. And I would eventually sometimes get one like satellite one here and there that would tack on. But she would hire me for anything. Reorganize her pantry. Yep, I can do that. I painted her entire apartment. I can't believe I hate painting. I did her bedroom, everything, like taped everything off, painted her whole apartment. Isn't that crazy?
What she's doing, yeah.
I tried to look her up a few times since then, and nothing. I don't even I don't know her
She's not
email.
on Facebook?
No, she's not on Facebook. And because I remember her first and last name.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be fun if we could find her and then talk to her about that experience?
She was so shy. I don't know if she would come on a podcast, but I remember. She was great, and I was basically her rent-a-husband. Like literally organize her pantry. Like I would just do these odd jobs around her apartment. She just lived alone in a 2-bedroom apartment, and she had TiVo. And so I would watch all of her shows on her TiVo while I cleaned the apartment. So I would watch like Wendy Williams and Real Housewives of wherever, all of them. She would record all of them. So I would just have this playing in the background and clean her apartment. I did another job. I did landscaping. I did that for like 5 summers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I did landscaping, like interlock brick and stuff, and so many odd jobs. A lot of great experiences. Like when you think about all the people you've met, especially working in restaurants. You work in a restaurant in New York City, you meet people from all walks of life, from all sorts of backgrounds and countries, and you really bond. Like when you go through a busy service and.
Yeah, you have some great stories from serving at makes me think of the story I'm going to tell right now. When I worked at this place called Mojave in Astoria, really good restaurant. When we first started dating, you would come in and visit, and you would just hang out there for almost my entire shift, which was really fun. And you would just sit there in your booth, and you would get the shepherd's pie, which was a Santa Fe sort of style shepherd's pie, which was mac and cheese on the bottom and chili on the bottom and mac and cheese on top instead of our shepherd's pie, which is the mashed potatoes with the ground beef. It was really good, remember?
Yeah.
And then you'd have a burger. You'd often have a burger. And remember, so often you would they give you chips and salsa. And so you'd have tons of chips and salsa.
I miss those days.
I know. And then you'd have like either the shepherd's pie or the burger with fries. Remember the burger? The fries would have like garlic on them with cheese.
Yeah, so good.
Like Parmesan cheese. And you would eat that entire huge burger with the fries, and then you'd have a huge bowl of chips and salsa first. And often you'd have like wouldn't you have a beer?
Yeah. Dos Equis.
And remember Sangrita?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They had
those days I remember fondly.
Yeah, and they have this famous cocktail there that would get you seriously drunk, like really drunk. And I remember you're
all over the map right now. Which part?
Well, it's just fun.
I know, but you're just bouncing. I'm hard to follow. What?
Well, there's just so many things. Memories are flooding back to me now. I can tell. No, but remember we had a comedy show there?
Yes.
I forgot about that. And there was one night where you had a sangrita
on the back patio.
Yeah. You had a sangrita before the show.
Which tell what a sangrita is.
Sangrita
bounce.
Is okay. Stop with the bounce judging. A sangrita is a frozen lime margarita mixed with sangria. And it sounds gross, but it's really delicious. And it gets you really, really drunk.
Yeah.
One will get you. It's like the equivalent of 4 drinks in one. And you... I remember one time you had a sangrita before the show. And you were like, I love drinking. Isn't drinking amazing? And you were like really drunk. So funny.
Yeah, you think back on those days, like even the shit jobs, and it's like in the moment you're like, this sucks, I just want to do comedy. But you look back and such fun experiences. I mean, I would sit there and just watch you serve. And Ginty was so nice, the bartender, giving me free beer. Yeah. And we're in New York City. I remember it felt magical.
Yeah.
And I'd never been to the States at all. I'd take the Amtrak down to New York and you'd meet me in Times Square or at Penn Station. And then I was just like looking around. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I was so nervous when you were coming for that first visit and I was going to pick you up. I was like, oh, my God.
So great.
What does he look like
We
again?
didn't even know each other.
I know. And I have just one more quick story about Mojave. I don't have a daily dose today, by the way.
Oh, no?
No.
You decided not to?
No. I don't want this nice vibe to be. No, I'm good.
All right.
And Mojave, another fun story. I go in one time to do my shift, and we weren't open yet. And it was in the afternoon. I can't remember. I think we closed in the middle of the day or something.
Yes, in between shifts. There was like a lot of restaurants. I don't know if they must still do that in New York.
Yeah, so
I close between lunch and dinner.
Yeah, so then I think I went in at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something to set up the restaurant, and Keenan Thompson was in there.
Right. Yeah.
And the bartender.
At that point, he had been on SL only for like 14 years.
Yeah, I know. But the bartender was setting up and she was new. I remember she was a new bartender. And he came in and he was waiting for his wife because his wife was getting her nails done or something. And so he was just there and he wanted a drink while he was waiting. So he got a big, like 20-ounce glass. I remember. And it was Kettle One and 7-Up. That's what he got for his drink. And she was so excited because he tipped her $50.
Yeah.
Which is a nice story. You know what? If you're well known and you're going out, I'm sure also she bent the rules. Like, we're not really open right now, but I'll make you a drink.
Yeah.
And then he probably liked that it wasn't open yet and it was quiet and he wouldn't be bothered. And he just sat there, had a Kettle One and 7-Up and tipped her $50. That's how her shift started that night. So she's like, yes.
Yeah. When you're known, famous, you have to tip well because it goes a long way. Like, people talk about it like this for years later.
Exactly.
And if you don't, they also talk about that. All right. Great stories, Jenny.
Yep.
That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Good topic. That was your idea.
Was it?
I think so.
I mean, I know.
It was definitely your idea.
You're gonna own it.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing to your favorite podcast platform. On your favorite podcast platform, please rate, review. It helps us. It goes a long way. Follow us on Instagram at Julien Dionne Show and like the Facebook page and Facebook group. We have a Facebook group as well. What did we say we were gonna put in there? I can't remember.
What?
In the group, something. Can't remember. I love you, Jenny.
Love you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow for Friday. And that's that. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until then, watch your head.
Spend your life looking for what you already got. Such a beautiful waste of time. Waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Wandering eyes and itchy feet. I'm just a thin, nervous shadow walking backwards down the street. The landing is bitter, but the falling is oh so sweet. It's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. The whole world wants a piece of my head, but they all get a piece of my mind instead. I roll over and go back to bed. It's such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time.